Is it in Jordan? Is
It's
that where
in Jordan.
Petra
Yep.
is? Yeah, interesting that nobody would ever find the...
We haven't found this ever.
Where is that darn... I was going to call it the Goblet of Fire. I almost said it. And I did
Pagan.
say it.
Pagan.
Where is
Listen,
that holy
Catholics,
grail?
she has come to my side. She's a wizard.
She's a wizard.
I'm just warning you, no tooting.
Okay.
Because you have a tendency to sometimes toot while we're potting.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Like one time.
You've tooted. Hey, Rach, tell the listeners where we're back from.
Hey, we're back
From
our trip to
Uh-huh.
Ireland.
Yes, the Emerald
Yes.
Isles.
Yeah, it's crazy. We put a lot of episodes in the can, as they say
Yeah.
in the biz.
Rach, you are getting more and more professional by the pod.
I-
Truly.
Yeah, if only I could just stop talking about farting on this podcast, and then I'd be a true professional.
I actually think it increases our numbers every time
Yeah.
you toot on the pod, and I make fun of you about it.
I do not.
I think there's a call for it. Yeah, it's in our reviews.
one time probably.
Well, sorry, folks, if you noticed the release schedule got off a little bit while we were in Ireland. You know, when you're in Galway, I mean, like, releasing the podcast sometimes takes second fiddle to sing a medieval castle in the middle of a mall.
Yeah, that's true. We did see
That happened.
Yeah, we definitely put some things on the back burner, but we're back now.
Uh-huh.
We're excited to regale stories of our travels. We had such a blast.
Yeah.
It was so
Truly.
fun.
Favorite thing you did? Go.
I really enjoyed all the stuff we did around Belfast.
Okay. Least favorite thing we did? Go.
The 8-hour bus ride to and from the Ring of Kerry.
Okay. Gotcha.
Not the Ring of Kerry itself, but the bus ride.
Yep.
I could have done without that. That was long.
Yeah. My favorite thing was seeing a show at the Abbey Theater. It was amazing production.
Mm-hmm.
Least favorite thing, that wedding that was in the middle of it.
Oh,
That was such a
reason we went over?
bore. Yeah.
Aha.
I remember in this ceremony, there was a kid across the aisle who went, boring. And I thought, exactly.
You're so full of it.
No, it was a beautiful wedding. But we are so excited to be back with you guys. It is always fun to just take a little time out and just have some fun, talk about some movies.
Yes.
Do you have a hair in your mouth?
You need to call me out on that.
No?
Yeah, I did. Penny, our Cavalier, is kind of going through another shedding phase. She
Yeah.
needs to be... There's one on the mic here. It's just like...
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
It's literally everywhere.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
yeah, I had one on my mouth.
Rach,
Yes.
what movie do we watch today?
All right, I'm going to get the title of this right.
No,
Because
it's
I don't
okay.
know if you've noticed, but I've always called this movie by a different name.
Yeah?
So we watched Indiana Jones,
Uh-huh.
Last Crusade.
And The Last Crusade.
And The Last Crusade. Gee, dang it. Not Lost Ark. Not
It's not called
Temple
Lost Ark.
of Doom.
It's
not
called Raiders of the
Raider-
Lost
I know.
Ark.
I was abbreviating it.
You're abbreviating.
I was abbreviating it. Yep. I kept calling it different names every time someone was like, hey, what episode is next? I was like, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I was
You're like,
no, it's not Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No. So I nailed it this time.
Yep. Okay. So, Rach, for our listeners,
Mm-hmm.
give us a summary of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, I think, so we're Indiana Jones,
Uh-huh.
right? We're following his whole, life's journey. He's still getting up to trouble. And essentially he gets pulled into an adventure, and he mainly gets pulled into it because his father is missing.
Wait, you're talking about Last Crusade. I asked you Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wait, what? Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you brat.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about that movie?
With the second one?
No, it's the first one.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is the first one.
Yeah.
Temple of Doom is second?
Temple of Doom is Mr. Jones.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Jones. That's Short Round. That's my impersonation of him.
Yep.
Mr. Jones.
I was going to give you one for this one. I was already into it.
Oh, okay.
Can I finish this one?
Yeah, finish Last Crusade, and then we'll come back to
Okay,
Raiders.
so Last Crusade. So he's going after his dad, and eventually the main goal becomes looking for the Holy Grail, or the cup that Jesus drank out of at the Last Supper, if you don't know what the Holy Grail is.
Sure, yep.
Yeah, but it's supposed to have some divine powers. If you drink from it, you get eternal life. I don't remember any of that in any of my other studies of the Holy Grail, but interesting.
Because Rach was raised a Catholic, and I am a heathen by our marriage license with the Catholic Church, pagan. And so Rach knows a lot about this. I don't know anything about this.
You don't know anything about
I've never even heard of the Holy Grail.
That's not true.
Yep, never heard of it. I think Monty Python made fun of it, but that's that's my entire context.
all you know, huh?
Because I'm a pagan. So that is how it goes. Rach searched in her infinite wisdom when we have a little remote where you can search for movies. Rach searched for Raiders of the Lost Ark when she was trying to find this movie.
I even messed up today.
Rach, what do you remember of Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Not a ton.
Okay. But you claimed you had seen this movie, but I think you had seen Raiders.
Yes.
Okay.
And Temple of Doom.
And Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Do you remember, any moments stick out from either one of those films for you?
Yeah. I mean, there's the whole thing about snakes. It had to be snakes. There's the whole thing about when the Ark of the Covenant is opened and the bright light comes out and everyone who has their eyes open turns into dusty zombies or something.
There's weird ghosts that come out.
Yeah.
I just watched that on the airplane from Ireland. And I was like, I forget that I thought it was just the light and it turns people into skeletons.
Yeah, if you don't
I didn't remember that there's not CGI because that's not what it was, but weird ghost special effects that come out.
Very cool. A lot of cool special effects in this one too. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the big boulder rolling down.
Did you remember that Alfred Molina was in that scene? Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire?
In what scene?
In that boulder scene.
No.
He plays somebody from Latin America. He's running around.
I did not remember that. Is he descended from Latin Americans?
I would guess
Possible?
not, but I don't know. I'm not going to say that for sure.
Maybe.
But I'm going to say that it was the 80s, and we didn't care then.
Yeah, I guess. We don't always care now either. Well, we've got
Do you remember it taking your heart out of your chest?
No.
You don't remember the beating hearts in his hand, the sorcerer guy?
No, I don't. But that doesn't mean I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I
okay.
know I've seen that one.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
What's the gross thing from number 2?
The gross thing from number 2?
Yeah, there's a gross thing in every one of these movies. Number 1, it's snakes.
Spiders.
Nope, it's not spiders. None of the movies do spiders.
I
That's
thought,
actually a really good one, and nobody does spiders.
The gal puts her hand in something, and she has to grab it, and there's a big spider, and she has to pull it so that something opens, and he and maybe Short Round are in the other room, and they're like, come on, Kathy, or whatever. I don't know her name. Come on. And she's like, and she's got to put her hand in something and pull it, and I swear there's a big spider in it or something.
Well, maybe that does happen. Well, I just remember this being the gross thing is they have to eat monkey brains.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
No.
And they slice open a snake, and there's a bunch of weird little worm snaky things that come out of them, and they got to eat that, and it's just a bunch of gross stuff. I think there's a fried tarantula.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
You get so hung up on the fact that I don't remember all these details that you remember,
I know.
and
It
you're
makes
like,
me think...
you didn't watch it. I was like, I sure did.
I can't wait.
Now, I will say, I didn't watch this one. I will claim I have not seen this film. I have seen 20 minutes of it. And I'll tell you what 20 minutes I've seen.
Ooh,
but I have not seen the film in its entirety. I was so surprised by it.
Yeah. When we watched the opening sequence, I was like, do you remember any of that? And she's like, no. And I was like, okay, I don't think you've seen this movie. And you're like, I think it was on TV and I caught a half hour of it. And I was like, okay, I believe that story.
Yeah.
I believe that
I'm going to stick to that story.
Rach, a little background about this bad boy. So George Lucas and Steven Spielberg.
Who?
You might have heard of them. What's your favorite of each of their films?
Oh, man. Favorite? George Lucas. Star Wars is all one film.
Yep, sure. all nine movies.
And Spielberg, God, I don't know.
Yeah, he's so eclectic.
It's like,
He's
I know
hard.
I'll say something, but then it'll be like, oh, what about this one? I was like, oh, that's great too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know.
Okay.
Jaws. It's not Jaws, but it's just like, seems like a pretty safe,
Sure.
a safe answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Not Minority Report?
I mean,
What we just talked about a couple episodes ago.
yeah, for Total Recall.
Yeah.
Very crazy.
So these two got together back in 1979. George Lucas approached Steven Spielberg. He had just came out with A New Hope, but had not done Empire Strikes Back yet.
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas had done Jaws was like 75-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Close Encounters was probably around this time. So he approached him with this idea. He's like, hey, I've got this idea for this Indiana Jones trilogy.
Oh.
So he knew right off the bat, he's like, there's going to be 3 movies.
Incredible.
Yep.
Because he knows about making lots of movies
Yeah,
and
he does.
lots of money.
Well, and he was early in his career, too. So he was like, hey, I've got an idea to keep me gainfully employed. And so the first Indiana Jones comes out in 1981.
Okay.
Number 2 comes out in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
When do you think this one came out?
Okay, 81, 84, 88,
You're really close. It came out in 1989.
89.
You were how old?
I was 2.
Cool.
Depending on what month.
Yep. You would have been 2. I think it comes out Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
Very much.
So Steven Spielberg made this movie to apologize for Temple of Doom. He said he hated that movie.
Oh.
He said it was way too dark. It was way too scary.
It was scary.
He said they outpoltered Poltergeist.
Was that
That
also
was
his
too?
too?
Quote. That was also his movie.
Also, I hate it, but it's also a good one.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
For a scary movie,
Ooh.
it really freaked me out as a kid.
Oh, it would freak me out now as an adult.
Yeah?
As a well-functioning adult,
Would
I
you
can't handle
would
it.
you watch it over Halloween without it counting for one of your scary movies?
No, absolutely not.
You wouldn't?
No.
Okay.
Ghosts?
But it's such a classic.
So? Doesn't mean it's not scary.
I know,
It'll
but
give me
like,
nightmares.
but don't you feel like, oh, I got to revisit that classic?
No, it doesn't need revisited.
Are you
It scarred me
sure?
once. Shame on me.
So Spielberg and Lucas, they started working together to try to come up with ideas for this third movie. They brought in Chris Columbus, not the explorer, but this famous film creator from one of our previous Summers Off movies. Does that ring any bells for you?
You know, a name like that, you would think that would stick with somebody. Chris Columbus.
Adventures.
Goonies.
Nailed it.
What?
Yeah, Goonies.
It felt Goonies-esque.
Did you feel some of the Goonies inspirations?
Yeah, because it was Goonies after this?
Goonies, I think, came out right around this time. I think maybe
Yeah.
Goonies was 87 or maybe 88, 89.
They are cut from the same cloth in many a scene.
I think the music feels similar.
Oh, I could see that.
Like the little.
It's very
like this, like,
fun-loving.
kind of like fun carnival-y music that's
Yeah.
going on while you're like trying to chase down stuff that's kind
Yeah.
of goofy and then it gets
A little
serious, obviously.
slapsticky. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so you can obviously see some of those slapstick, lighthearted qualities that came out for this one compared to the first two.
Yeah.
Because the first one, I just watched it. It's pretty dark and like kind of grainy, and obviously that's also the film quality because
Sure.
it's the early '80s. But it just has like a darker quality to it.
Darker as in subject material, or darker as in like film?
I think both.
Okay.
I think it's lit in a darker way, even though they're in the desert, bright desert for parts of it.
Yeah.
But it also just has some like darker moments and things that happen. And Temple of Doom, obviously, with hearts coming out of your bodies and stuff, and sacrifices and things like that. It was pretty dark. But yeah, this one is very lighthearted and jovial. And I think that's why I liked it so much as a kid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is this? I mean, I don't want to jump ahead. Is this your favorite out of all three?
Yes.
Oh.
It is my favorite. So, as a kid, though, especially, guess what I loved? I would watch. It was my favorite part of the whole movie.
There's one part that you love in particular.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning scene
Yes.
with River Phoenix.
Yep. 100%.
You got heart, kid, but that belongs to me.
Belongs to Coronado.
Coronado's dead, and so are all of his grandchildren.
This should be in a museum.
Cute cute little River Phoenix as a young Indiana Jones. He's like Indiana in his teens, but he's got his cute, long River Phoenix 90s hair.
Oh my gosh, it's so long. And it does not work in that time period. I'm like,
what
is
time period?
going on?
It's supposed to be 1911
yeah,
or
it was
something.
like 1910s, yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
Did men have like long hair around that
I
time
don't
and it
think
just
so.
like wasn't gelled back or something?
Okay, maybe that would be the argument.
don't
But to
know.
me, it looked like Nick Carter hair,
It did. It really did.
even though it was 89.
Oh, yeah, it was cool to see him again.
I love him. I think he was going to be a huge star. Like,
yeah.
just gigantic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so he, at the very beginning, it kind of is kind of an origin story of how he, kind of becomes that persona, Indiana Jones, with the hat and the whip and all that. He kind of stumbles upon some people who are essentially kind of like grave robbing. So he tries to stop them at it, and it's just a big, long chase. A circus train is involved. I don't want to spoil it for you, but...
Okay, here's what's so fun. Because so many of the origins that, like, tie into the rest of the movie. So, like, there's a snake at the very beginning of that sequence, and he goes, it's just a snake. So he's not afraid of snakes yet.
Yeah, not as
And you find out why he becomes afraid of snakes,
Yes.
Rach.
He falls into essentially a pit of snakes,
Uh-huh.
so they're all over him. I think that's probably they very much laid out that trauma for him.
Yep, for sure,
So
for sure.
if we didn't know that, Indiana Jones has a big fear of snakes, and so he's got famous lines. It's like, why does it have to be snakes?
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Asps. Very dangerous. You go first.
Snakes. I hate snakes.
Yeah.
My dad also has a tremendous fear of snakes.
Does he?
And my mom has a tremendous fear of...
Mice.
Yes, which
Or
we get in
rats.
this movie.
Oh,
Yep.
the rat scene.
Yeah, what'd you think of that rat scene?
Well, that is the very start of my 20 minutes of this film.
Oh.
I had seen
Okay.
the rat infested, what do you call that area under the church? Catacombs?
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
Catacomb,
the
the tomb.
Crusader.
Now there is water through the tomb, and that water is petroleum oil.
Yeah, I
So
guess.
there's a big fire there, and they have to essentially like crawl into a crypt in order to survive that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had seen that all the way up until they have the romantic scene in the room in Venice.
Okay.
So that's my 20 minutes, and then it must have cut to commercial, and I was like, man. And I moved on.
Oh, that's so funny.
So that was a solid 20 for me.
Well, funny story about those rats. So those rats, they were like a dark gray color. They wanted them all to be the same color.
Okay.
And they also, it was a film thing where you had to have disease-free rats. So if you
Sure.
wanted to do that,
Yep.
you had to breed your own rats.
Oh, gross.
And so they bred over 2,000 rats.
Oh.
And then if they had them on fire, they were animatronic rats.
Okay.
Yep. So they...
Wait, did they have 2,000 at the end of this? Because that's a lot of rats.
Well, that's what I think. Like, how do you corral them all?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, oh, shoot, the rats are getting loose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for like no animal cruelty, but oh god, what are you gonna do with 2,000 rats?
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
gosh.
For sure. Yep. Yeah. And then do you just release them into the wild and they don't know how to live?
You better not. You better not.
What a great prank to pull on somebody like in the crew or cast. Be like, hey, they go into their room and they've got 2,000 rats in there.
Like, I don't know if you can really like even just picture what 2,000 rats looks like. You
No.
guys, it's incredible. There's no way they didn't eat each other,
Oh, for sure.
Right?
And
Like-
murdered each other. Yeah.
because rats do that.
Yep.
So if they
And
weren't
there's
well
water
fed-
everywhere, and so they would have gotten in the water. Like, I don't
know.
understand it.
Yeah, it's best maybe not to.
I think only probably 150 survived.
This movie could not be made today because all those rats would have to be CGI.
Oh, they totally would. And it'd be so stupid. You'd be like, gosh dang
You
it.
could tell, which would be awful, but
Yep.
then you wouldn't have to kill and or create 2,000 rats. Yeah, has your mom seen that scene?
Oh, I'm sure she has.
Is
Yeah, because we
that-
watched this quite a bit in the Hudson household.
Yeah.
This was probably the one that was on the most out of the three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep.
I would just love to see like your mom just freak out and have to walk out of the room for this.
Yeah,
scene.
oh, I can't take this.
It's
Ah.
awful. It's awful.
Yep. So Christopher Columbus from Goonies,
Yes.
he gets brought on, and they all start like just pitching all these ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's three little boys in a room, pretty much, just being like,
Yeah, then what if this happens? Then we could do this.
So, one idea was George Lucas said, I want there to be a Scottish ghost and we want them to be looking for the Fountain of Youth. We're going to call this movie, here's his title, Indiana Jones and the Monkey King. And then he says the ghost's name is Baron Seamus Seagrove III. That was terrible Scottish. I was just doing Scottish earlier. And what did I teach you for Scottish?
We said that for Scottish, you just have to be louder.
Just have to talk louder. Really loud.
And then it just comes out. It's amazing how fluid you are in your Scottish dialect when you just shout it.
Yeah, just shout it. Just shout it and it'll all come out. So Chris Columbus, in the little boy sleepover, he has these ideas. He goes, okay, now what if we do this? We put pygmies, cannibals, and then we have the Fountain of Youth, right? But instead of the Fountain of Youth, it's not just a fountain.
Oh.
Instead, they go find a tree, and there's peaches of immortality growing on that tree.
Oh, wow.
And then he gets this idea. He's like, oh, and I love your Monkey King idea. So how about this idea? Indiana Jones versus the Monkey King in a chess match. But it's not like any chess match. Instead, the chess pieces, like Harry Potter, are humans who die.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. And then what did Spielberg have to add to this?
Okay, I'll get into Spielberg a little in just a second. Because they were afraid. The Holy Grail got brought up.
Uh-huh.
But they were afraid to go with it.
Sure.
Why do you think they were afraid? I kind of already mentioned this earlier in the pod.
Oh.
With my heathenness, my
I
paganism.
was going to say, is it just from a religious standpoint, bringing up something about something so religiously
it's the only way
sacred?
I know about the Holy Grail, I said.
The only way you know about the
The
Holy
only thing
Grail?
that ever
Oh,
taught
Monty
me.
Python.
Yeah.
Oh, was this? Yeah, sure, because that kind of came out obviously before that.
Yep. So they said because Monty Python and the Holy Grail, they were like, oh, it's such a comical topic. I don't think we should do the Holy Grail. I think that's too silly. Let's do this Fountain of Youth idea.
Nah.
But Spielberg, you asked, what is Spielberg's contribution? Spielberg's contribution was sending one of his best friends home and called his parents and said, hey, you need to come pick Chris Columbus up.
He's had too much sugar drink. He's spazzing out. He needs to be picked up right now.
He's so naughty. We can't. George and I are not having fun with him. Speaking of sugar drink, do you want to tell the audience what we made today?
Oh, yeah. We had a spicy little afternoon while we got to watch this. We created what Ty likes to call graduation drinks.
I don't think that's an official name.
No, I think that's what we'll title it. So graduation drink is essentially when you go to a graduation party and there's that punch that you have.
And you only get it there, and you always wonder, like, when could I ever get this drink again? And it's never anywhere besides a kid's high school graduation.
Yeah. Or with us when we're watching movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we made a giant bowl of... we made a bowl. So Ty's like, yeah, don't we have, like, a punch bowl or something? Like, who do you think we are? A punch bowl? No. So we had a giant mixing bowl, put all of the mixes in it, a little lemonade, a little cranberry juice, a little 7-Up, and then the piece de resistance
Yes, the ultimate flourish.
is...
sherbet ice cream. I was gonna call it sorbet because that's unspelled.
I say you can say sorbet.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, sorbet.
Sorbet.
It's French.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Suck it, everybody. I can say it.
Yeah, sherbet and sorbet. Honestly, I use them interchangeably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they mean the same thing.
So you just do this little sherbet flourish at the top, and then it
Yeah.
keeps your drink cool. It's an extra little foamy sweetness that you get. They are sugar bombs.
Oh my gosh.
They're so sweet.
I thought I needed a nap before this because I was sugar bomb crashing. Like, whoa, that was a lot.
Yeah, they're wild. They're hard. They're wild to take in, but they're good.
Sugary
Tasty.
drink. Great segue.
Yep. So, Chris Columbus had too much graduation drink, had to be taken home because Spielberg said he was coming up with too many negative depictions of Africans in his version, with the pygmies and the cannibals and everything. He's like, this doesn't feel right. This feels wrong.
That's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we should
Good.
stay away from this.
Good on him.
So listen to this. He invited a new person over to the sleepover with George Lucas and him. And went a completely opposite direction. He invites the director and screenwriter, not the playwright, I don't think. I looked this up. It's just the screenwriter who adapted it, for The Color Purple.
Oh.
He said, we're not going to be racist up in here. We're bringing Color Purple
I'm
in.
bringing in reinforcements. Whoopi? No, it's not Whoopi.
Danny Glover's in that too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah?
Yep.
And so then he came in and he like started messing with the screenplay as well. And most of the plot kind of gets settled after that. But there were two things that got nixed. So one of them was the Color Purple guy's screenplay. I should have grabbed his name. I don't know why I didn't write it down. And then Chris Columbus had written something in too. And they were debating which one to go with or whether to scrap it all together. It had to do with his love interest. The Color Purple guy's idea was, I want Indiana Jones to get married to a nun.
What?
Who I'm pretty sure aren't supposed to get married.
Yeah, that's typically,
Right?
yeah, it's not usually.
I don't think that's supposed
a
to
vow
happen.
of chastity would make that kind of tricky.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that was his idea. And then Chris Columbus said, no, he's going to get, this is like his parting way while he's getting picked up by mom. He's like, no. He should get engaged to another archaeologist. So there was all these arguments about what to do about the love interest.
Sure.
And they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about how they settled on it? She kind of is an archaeologist. She's a doctor or professor of history or something.
Yeah. She's a match as far as like wits, so that's great. She's a doctor as well. But she's a Nazi.
Yeah.
She's evil.
And we should have seen it coming because she had a German accent.
I heard it.
I
knew she
know.
was evil.
Yeah, you did. You called everyone being evil.
Yeah. Well, the main like funder bad guy, who essentially is the guy who introduces Indiana Jones to the project to begin with, is like, hey, don't trust anybody. I said,
Yeah.
I bet.
Rach goes, you better not trust him. And she totally called it.
I did call that one. No, but I liked it. So she obviously betrays him. But because she is a lover of knowledge and because the Nazis are essentially, burning books and destroying truth, she kind of has a little bit of a turn there
She
at
cries
the end.
during the book burning in Berlin.
And she essentially saves him in the end, and he tries to save her, but she dies because she gets stuck on that Grail.
She just
She's
loves
got those
that
Grail
Grail.
eyes. Yep.
But that Grail is pretty cool. Had gold on the inside of the cup.
Yeah, which I thought was very
cool.
Actually not appropriate. Not appropriate's not the word, but not accurate.
You just wanted it to be a dull, boring cup?
It should be a wooden cup.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I didn't even think that cup was wooden.
Yeah. They said it was on the outside, but it was
Oh,
definitely
they did?
yeah.
Oh, it looked like porcelain
They
almost.
said that looks like a carpenter's cup. So
Yeah.
one of the challenges at the end, there's this whole room of cups.
Yes.
Of chalices, if you will.
Yes.
And you have to select which one is the one.
Which
and if you pick the wrong one, you die.
She picks that cup so fast. Did you notice
Oh,
that?
it's so obvious.
They're like just scanning the room or whatever, and she's like, this one. And it's all like a room of gorgeous cups. So I don't know why she picked that one so fast.
Well, she picked it.
She's like, this is the one.
But she did that she betrayed him. Like she knew that was not the right cup. She's an archaeologist. Did you know that? Ty, you didn't know that?
I've seen this movie like
20
times, and I've never put that together.
Yeah, that's why she tries to save him in the end. Okay, so let's paint this weird picture. So
she's so much more I thought she was just like, I'm going to pick this cup, and then she ends up being wrong.
No.
Indy ends up being right.
She picks this cup because she's with the
what
main.
a tragic
Hey, let me
character. I'm so
explain
sorry. I'm just taking it in, babe. This is wild to me. And our listeners are going to be like, Ty, you damn idiot. Like, are you kidding me?
I didn't know you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I've never put that together.
All right. For those of you who are confused, let me explain. So we find Indiana is there, and he finds the room of chalices at the very end, and he's told essentially, I'm not going to get into that part, who tells him this, but somebody in the room tells him. That's very complicated and not necessary.
We'll get into it a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somebody in the room tells him that he has to choose which chalice is the Holy Grail, and that if he chooses wrong, he will essentially die.
Yep.
So just as he's getting this knowledge, in walk the two big bad Nazis. We've got female Nazi love interest who betrayed him, and then the big bad guy.
Yep. Who's actually American.
Who's American
Who's
guy, yeah.
using the Nazis to try to get like
at the Grail.
immortality.
Yes.
Which, are we supposed to believe that Indy and his dad now are immortal?
No, you're only immortal if you stay in that room.
You gotta stay in the
and
room.
you keep drinking
Okay.
from that chalice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once you leave, you're not
Sorry,
immortal
it's like
anymore.
I have never seen the movie.
Yeah, have you seen this movie?
Are you interviewing me right now?
So essentially, they get in the room, and the bad guys come in. They're like, "No, we'll take it from here." And they're walking around, and the guy's like, "I don't know which one. They all look the same to me."
And
she's
she goes,
like,
"Allow me to choose."
"Let me choose."
Yeah.
And so she picks one from him, and it's got jewels, and it's gold. It's very bedazzly, and
He
he's
goes,
like,
"Yes,
"Yes,
a cup
yes,
for the King of Kings."
of course." And then he drinks out of it, and then he dies. But yeah.
What do you think of his stop motion conversion into a skeleton?
Incredible. I loved it.
I
Was
did
I
too.
not supposed to love it? I loved it.
I thought it was great.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, that was so good.
Take me back to those. Like
The
that's
stop motion days?
Yeah.
I love the stop motion days.
Honestly.
There's such artistry in it. Yeah, it looks cheesy a lot of times, but
Does it though?
but
Compare
there's-
that to like a CGI from like the early 2000s.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love you so much. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, way better. It just
Yep.
it withstands time so much better. And yes, you know
sure.
that it's very like it's a dated technique, but I'll be damned. It
There's
looks so good.
art in it.
I don't care. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I really do too.
Yes.
Not to say CGI artists. I'm sure there's artists out there who are like, F you, Ty. I'm a freaking artist.
Yes,
I'm making
you
stuff out
are,
of
you
technology.
are.
I'm like, yeah, you are. I know. But for some reason, I appreciate the other art better.
We love a practical effect.
Yeah, I
We
like
always
oil
have.
paintings more than modern paintings, baby. That's just who I am. Seeing squares isn't going to get me, but seeing that old Duke from the 1700s, count me in. So there was another writer who got invited to the party, Rach.
I can believe it.
Yeah, okay, get this. Tom Stoppard. Do you know who that is?
Is that an actor?
No,
Is
he's
that
in
a-
theater, though.
Tom's. Oh, is he playwright?
Yes.
Tom Stoppard. Oh gosh, everyone.
It's
in
okay.
the theater world is
You're
like,
not,
come
you're not
on.
a theater major. You have nothing
I
to
know, but I
apologize
know
about.
this
You
name,
can tell them all
though.
to suck it.
I know this name, Tom Stoppard. A play, but I don't know what play.
Okay, think Hamlet.
Oh, well, was it Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are
Yes.
dead?
Yes.
Ha!
Nailed it.
Thanks for the hint.
And he also
Did.
helped write the screenplay for, well, actually he wrote the whole screenplay and then it got turned into an actual play, but like somebody else got their hands on it for Shakespeare in Love.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's Tom Stoppard.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good.
So he got brought in. He wrote a lot of the father-son scenes. So whenever it was Sean
Mm-hmm.
and Harrison, those were a lot of his work.
And just to make sure that I am correct, this is the first time that Sean Connery has been in any Indiana. There's no other like snippets or hints that he was his
No.
dad.
Nope,
Okay.
we've never seen his dad.
Yeah.
That's what's so fun about this third one. Because the third one's like, okay, you've done 2 adventures now. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a fleshing out of his backstory. And we're going to talk about things origin stories. We're going to talk about his dad. He's going to mention his mom. Like all those things
Yeah.
that you didn't know that you wanted to find out about, we're going to give you snippets and make you like more curious about. And that's what I
like
think is
that.
a really cool thing in this movie.
Yeah, I like that.
So Spielberg, he was working on Rain Man at the time, and he left for 6 months so he could go film Indiana Jones 3, and then he returned to Rain Man.
Oh,
So I think he
snap.
had a big stoppage, or he had somebody take over. We're not doing Rain Man, so I didn't look up a ton about that process.
Not yet.
But all I know is that oh yeah, that's your movie,
I could do
actually.
that for you,
That's gonna be
yeah.
you. And so he came to Indiana Jones 3. I don't know if you remember this. He gave up another movie that he was signed on to do for Indiana Jones 3. He gave up the movie Big.
Oh, and he gave it to Penny Marshall.
He gave it to Penny Marshall.
Or gave it, or he
And
didn't give it, I
guess
guess.
who his Josh was going to be?
Harrison Ford?
Absolutely.
What?
Yep.
No.
Spielberg was going to cast Harrison Ford. They had already talked about it, and then they scrapped it, and they're like, hey, let's go do Indiana Jones 3. So
That
it all
sounds
worked
way more
out.
cool.
It all worked out.
You know, yeah, it really did. But Harrison Ford would be kind of interesting.
He
in
would
that
have
role.
done a good job.
Honestly, he has comedic chops. I think he'd be all right.
Not
It'd be
to-
different.
Not
but
to get more into Big, because I looked up a
let's
couple
talk
things
about
about
Big
it.
some more.
Did you remember John Travolta really wanted that role?
I
He was like,
did
please let
not-
me have it. And they're like,
This
you are
shocked
box
me.
office curmudgeon. You're going to ruin us. No, get out of here. He's like, please, I want to do it.
Oh,
Go
poor,
do Michael.
poor JT.
So let's get into some casting.
Okay.
Sean Connery. Do you have a good Sean Connery? I have a terrible one.
I am last one.
So Sean Connery did not want to do this movie.
Oh, really?
He did not want to play Henry.
Yeah,
And
he didn't want to play dad.
No. And do you know, could you guess what his reasoning would be? Like why he wouldn't want to do it?
Because he's old in this, and he's kind of like, I mean, this is a man who like played 007 for years, and all of a sudden he has to be like, the pen is mightier than the sword. Which, so that's his quote from that, but I didn't realize that was the quote that they used in an SNL. Do you remember when SNL
when he does the Trebek thing?
Yeah, during it, there's a Jeopardy parody, and it's like classic SNL.
Yeah,
Will Ferrell
that's a great
is Alex
one.
Trebek.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying,
Suck
it says,
it,
pen
Trebek.
is mightier, and he keeps reading it, penis mightier.
Mr. Connery, why don't you pick a category?
I've got to ask you about the penis mightier.
No. That's the pen is mightier.
And maybe it's not connected. I don't know, but that's all I could think about when he kept
that's
yelling
so
that.
funny. Oh my gosh. So
Penis mightier.
So you are correct. He did not want to play this, basically because he's only 12 years older than Harrison. He's like, why am I playing his dad?
Yeah, for
I'm not
sure.
old enough to be his dad.
No, I'm his cool, like, colleague who he looks up to in a mentor position.
Okay, that's really interesting you bring this up. Because
Yeah.
that's what he convinced himself when he accepted the role. He goes, okay, I'll play his dad. And I'll play his dad who is cooler than him, who has already gone on all these adventures before him, has already had sex with every girl that he hooks up with. I will be the guy who is way better than Indy and has done everything before he does it.
Yeah, but then they gave him that cute little bucket hat.
I know. He's probably like, gosh, dang you. I want a leather jacket.
I want that cool Indiana Jones hat. I don't want a bucket hat.
Harrison loves Sean Connery.
Yeah.
He loves, and Harrison Ford does not love everybody.
No,
He is
shocker.
He is one of the biggest curmudgeons in cinema. I love him. He's one of my idols growing up.
Yeah.
It was him. Granted, these are a lot of fallen heroes. Him, Mel Gibson, and Brett Favre were like the three people I looked up to in my formative years.
What a class act.
And each of them have fallen to time. But Harrison just loved Sean Connery.
Sure.
He said he
Sure.
didn't give a shit and he had no ego. He was just like, I'm here. I'll do whatever the hell I want and you'll all deal with it. And Harrison loved it.
Yeah.
He's like, yes.
Yes.
Probably because he's
someone finally gets it.
like, and think about Harrison in the future. He's like, I'm going to do the Sean Connery thing.
I am Sean
That's
Connery.
me. Suck it, Josh Hartnett. I'll do what I want. So the first actress that they wanted was this actress called Amanda Redman. She hadn't done anything that I recognized, but she goes on to like do a lot of TV and different film stuff. She's a UK actress. But she didn't accept the role because she was too afraid of...
Nazis.
No, she's allergic to Nazis, but she was afraid of...
Rats.
Yes.
Oh, God.
She was definitely afraid of rats.
Run, girl.
So she said, I can't do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't blame her.
But-
if that's like your top fear and you have to be around 2,000 rats, like that's your top fear, like...
Think about the paycheck and the exposure, and you're going to be in an Indiana Jones film. You're going to be the lead gal, and you haven't really done anything to like really percolate for the mainstream audience. This is a huge opportunity.
You don't have like a life-crippling fear like that, though.
Do you?
Well, I don't know, like
Heights, jumping?
like jumping out of like I could do skydiving, but like for a film,
Yeah.
for this film I would skydive. But like if I had to do something crazy like cliff jump or like walk off like some like a freestanding object like that, I don't know if I could do it. And hopefully wouldn't have to because there are stunt doubles, but
don't you think like you would work your way up to being able to do it if you were in a film that is going to pay you money, that you weren't going to have to work for like multiple years, and it'd be like, Rach, okay, we're going to tackle these cliffs. We're just going to get a little higher. I'm going to take you to these different places. We're going to help you conquer this
oh,
fear.
it sounds awful. I mean, yeah, I probably would try and see where that got me, but yeah. But you don't have anything like that you're like deathly afraid of, that you're like, nope, not that.
Deathly afraid of. I have things I don't like though. I didn't realize. I think I'm minorly claustrophobic. When we were at that museum in St. Louis, the Children's Museum, is that what it was? The really fun one.
It's called the City Museum.
City Museum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a section that's like spelunking almost. It's like cave-like.
Yeah.
And I went through some tunnels that were pretty small, and I remember being like, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Like, uh-oh, this makes me
Dark.
feel really weird. And then I'd see these
can't back out.
I'd see these little kids coming in behind me, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to reverse. And this kid's now behind me, and what the hell am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to kick this kid in the face. And so the kids were stressing me out too.
Sure.
I think if I would have been alone in there, I could have managed. Mm-hmm. But like having the kids in there too, like kind of rustling past me and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. And I saw some of these adults like going into these little wormholes or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine that right now.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, that brings my heart rate up a little bit.
yeah, I think spelunking would really freak me out.
Ooh, you know what else? Spiders. For me, like,
yeah, you're like Ron Weasley.
put all of the tarantulas in, not the CGI ones, the real ones.
Yeah.
That would be really challenging.
But
for me.
tarantulas can't even bite you.
Yeah, but that doesn't
They've
mean
got
they don't.
two little fangs. They don't pierce the skin.
Yeah,
they shoot
but-
their hairs into you. Like you can get little pricks
Well,
from
that
their
sounds
hairs.
awful too.
They're like ka-cha, ka-cha.
I don't want that either. Yeah. No. Yeah. Spiders.
Tarantulas can be affectionate.
Ugh.
They actually like the warmth of human touch, and they'll come to you. Like you'll be like, "Come here, tarantula," and you'll hold out your hand, and they'll come and they'll crawl into your palm, and you can like carry them around. And as long as you don't scare them, they won't shoot their little spines into you.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like really friendly, actually.
Ew.
That's a true story.
Well, that's disgusting.
You don't want a friendly tarantula?
No.
I think the wolf spiders with their two big eyes, I think they're cute.
Oh God.
When they have 1,000 eyes, I get a little weirded out. But when they have 2 eyes, I'm like, oh, 2 big brown eyes.
All the better to eat you with. Yeah.
Those ones come out of the ground too, and they like snatch you, like ah.
Yeah. No, thank you. It's making it worse. This room is hot.
Oh, okay, so you could not be cast in this movie, maybe if it was about tarantulas.
Yeah.
But they ended up finding a gal who was okay with the rats.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Alison Doody.
Mm-hmm.
She was not German. She was
Austrian.
nope.
She was
Think
Italian.
vacation. She was
Irish.
Irish.
She was
She was
Irish.
So
Oh.
Alison Doody had been a Bond girl in A View to Kill.
Okay.
And so she had already done the Bond girl thing. and-
With Pierce Brosnan, maybe? Or?
No, this would have been
Is
would have
there
been
an
Sean.
in-between
It
guy?
maybe would have been Roger Moore.
Okay.
But I actually think it was probably the next guy. No, it probably was Roger Moore, to be honest with you, in the 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Because Sean Connery was late 60s through the 70s, I
Yeah.
think. And Alison Doody, after this movie, she marries this bigwig in like media. Like think about like the Fox News CEO, and I don't know if it was conservative or not, just like a huge media mogul, and they owned the most expensive house on the island of Ireland in the mid-90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she lived an awesome life.
Cool. We probably saw it on the castle tours.
Maybe. Yeah, they called it like the Begley Estate or something like
Very
that.
cool.
So, what'd you think of her?
I thought she was fine. I
Yeah.
mean, these roles for these women in these films, it is
What
it
are
is.
you about to say?
I'm just saying.
Bond girls and the Indiana Jones girls, those are great roles.
Are they, Ty?
To say
Are
you were a Bond girl is a big deal.
For a Bond girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
no,
about an indie girl?
There is definitely a special place for those roles and for those women.
Yeah.
And would I turn it down if offered it? No, absolutely not. I would take it in a heartbeat.
Good. Yeah, I would be so mad if you turned that down. I'd be like, are you kidding me? You're sacrificing for both of us right now.
But yeah, I mean, you asked me what I thought of her. Like, she's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like, I think the like the new Bond girls have a lot more backstory and
Yeah.
depth and like crazy scenes to go through. But
Yeah, they got to do more actiony
yeah,
stuff.
and they get to do more acting.
Well, I think you're maybe selling the indie girls a little short.
Maybe I am.
Do you remember Marion
Yes.
from Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
With dark hair. She is badass.
She is.
She does tons of stuff. She
She
fights
does.
all the
That's
time.
true.
I don't know if
That's
you remember
true.
the opening scene that you see her in. She's having a drink off with like a big Russian guy. And they're like,
yeah.
they keep taking down like vodka.
Vodka,
And then
yeah.
he passes out. And so she's drank like 12, 15 shots. And then she she punches guys out. She shoots guns all the time.
That's
She's
true.
like a huge badass.
Yeah, that's true. Marion was awesome. That's a good point. This gal's not Marion.
Yeah. But she's also not number 2 girl who's like, I think an actress who's like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah,
here?
no, she was probably the worst of the 3.
Yeah.
If we had to rank the indie girls, I would say she's number 2.
This girl's smart.
She is. She's very intelligent, and she has like some conflict,
Yeah.
obviously, which is very
Which
interesting.
Ty didn't even pick up on.
Which I didn't even understand that she was double-crossing.
Yep.
Double-crossing.
Very cool, though.
Yeah.
So to make this movie feel more like number 1, they really wanted to like get back to some Raiders influences, Raiders of the Lost Ark influences, and they brought back Denholm Elliott. He was the buddy archaeologist, the goofy one who gets kidnapped.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, who has like the book at one point and stuff. So they brought him back. He actually had AIDS though. And so he was like puking and getting sick a lot on set.
Oh.
Yep, so they had to like kind of work around that. But then they also brought back John Rhys Davies, and he's the Arab guy who has the camels.
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah,
and then
he's
I
in
thought,
number
like,
1.
maybe I have seen this. Nope, it's just because he was in number 1. Okay. Yeah.
No camels!
I should have rewatched 1 and 2 just to like really clarify, like, this is where I saw that from, or like, that would have been helpful.
Well, one fun thing. Okay, do you remember in number 1, there's a guy who he gets in a fight with, and the guy's a big guy. And he ends up he's got like a mustache, and he ends up getting chopped up by a airplane propeller.
In number 1?
Yeah, number 1.
Oh.
Do you remember this a little bit?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay, so that guy is in number 1. And then he's in Temple of Doom. He's one of like the slave guys who's like torturing the kids and whipping them and stuff.
Okay.
And then he's in this one as well. And I think I spotted him. I think he's the guy who drives the tank.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there's like
Yes.
this extra who's like a featured role in all these movies, which is super fun.
That's very fun.
Yep.
Fun for him.
Now, Ford wanted River Phoenix in this movie because he had worked with him in, I didn't write it down. But he had worked with him in a different movie.
Okay.
And he's like, I want him to play young me when he had read
Yeah.
the script. He's like, it's
Sure.
got to be River Phoenix. So he
Yeah.
convinced Spielberg of that. And Phoenix said that he just studied Harrison Ford, and they had already been in that movie together, which helped. But he just like studied all of his mannerisms on set and things, and like came and would watch him when he was doing his scenes, so then he could just like take on his mannerisms. How'd you think he did?
I don't know. I wasn't looking for that.
I think he just did
guess-
okay, to be honest with you.
I think he did well with playing Indiana Jones at that age.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's also like 14, 15?
Probably.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He did the physicalness that I thought was impressive.
Yep.
But like acting wise, I'd have to look at it. But then again, I don't really have a lot of like Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford isms memorized either.
Yep.
So I guess it could have been brilliant, but I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah, I was looking for it, and I didn't notice anything
Okay.
really. I noticed the physical, like you said, the physical stuff, like all the good combat and
Yeah,
things
he
like
did
that.
good combat.
But I didn't notice like anything. I think he was trying to do something vocally, but I was like, I don't really see
Yeah,
it.
it's hard when
But that's okay.
you're a baby.
They filmed that opening scene in Arches National Park in Utah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where Moab is, where I
Very
went.
cool. You were just there this year.
I was just there.
Very
And
cool.
Rach is very
I
jelly.
am. Can you hear it in my voice?
Hey, green is not a pretty color on you.
It is. I'm just back from Ireland. It's a very pretty color on me. Have you know?
Rach, they tell us the origin story of Harrison's scar in this movie.
Oh, I didn't know he had a scar.
He has a real life scar from a car crash when he was in his 20s.
Okay.
And so then they give us the origin story in this movie of how he got that scar.
His face is not so beat up, but like he's like of a certain age. Like I just assumed it was a line or a wrinkle. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
did
even
too.
like looking at
I
scars.
actually don't think it's something you really have to draw a lot of attention to.
That's so funny.
Yep.
Yeah, he ends up getting whipped. He takes
River
a whip.
Phoenix,
River
yep.
Phoenix uses a whip to get a lion back. Remember, we're on a circus train, and he accidentally whips himself in the face the
Yep.
first time he uses it. So yeah, you're right. I guess that becomes a Harrison Ford scar. Well done. Well done, everyone.
Yes, thank you, Christopher Columbus, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Tom Stoppard, and the Color Purple screenplay writer. You 5 at your sleepover nailed it.
Mountains among men. All of you. All of you. That's
Maybe-
actually true for some of you. Well done.
Oh. So the guy at the beginning of the film, in that opening sequence, who
Say more.
who looks like Harrison Ford?
Yes.
How cool would it be to get to play that role? You're like,
oh, yeah.
You're cast because you look like Harrison Ford. You get to get into the get-up, and you end up being kind of cool.
This is how I knew I hadn't seen it, because I was so confused at the beginning. Because you see him, and I'm like, that's not Harrison Ford.
I knew that was the moment you hadn't seen it, too. I looked over at you, and I could tell. I was like, she's trying to decipher if that's Harrison or not.
What the heck is happening here? What year is it? Who is this?
Yeah.
And then the two boys are watching them grave rob, and he's like, Indy, but he's not talking to, obviously, the grave robber who looks like Indiana Jones. He's talking to River Phoenix. So and I had a little light bulb moment. I was like, oh, I've not seen this one.
Yeah, yep. And that guy was supposed to be Marion's dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they ended up throwing that idea out late in the process, and they're like, he's just this guy named Garth. His name is Garth. He's a treasure hunter, just like Indy's gonna be. We're not gonna make him Marion's dad, even though I think that would have been fun.
Yeah, would they have revealed that in this one, in the third one?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how you reveal it. I think he's just like, my name's Marion's dad. Oh, you remind me of my daughter Marion. I don't remember Marion's last name. I just think of Marion Peru from Music Man. So yes. I'm Dr. Peru.
Definitely not Peru.
Oh. Rach, where did this film get shot at? Where was the whole ending sequence when they were in the desert? Where was that at?
Oh, yeah. It looked an awful lot like Petra.
And you
Is
would
that
be correct.
Right? Yeah, this giant wall of carved stone arches and statues and doorways, just like
Right into a canyon.
very iconically Petra.
Yeah. I don't know if it's really in a canyon, but they made it look like it was.
Is it in Jordan? Is
It's
that
in
where
Jordan,
Petra
yep.
is? Yeah, interesting that nobody would ever find the...
We haven't found this ever.
Where is that darn... I was going to call it the Goblet of Fire. I almost said it. They did
Pagan.
say it.
Pagan.
Where is
Listen,
that Holy
Catholics,
Grail?
she has come to my side. She's a wizard.
He's a wizard. Where's that darn Holy Grail? Oh, look at this cool door. Do you think we should check it out?
Maybe let's check it
It's
out.
just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Also interesting that they played that off like nobody knew that was Petra. Do you think people don't know that that's Petra?
I don't know if at the time they did. Because
Yeah?
listen to this.
Okay.
After the movie gets filmed, Petra's tourism skyrockets.
Oh, I'm sure.
So people were like, oh, there's some cool shit here. And so everybody started going. I want to say it like triples their tourism numbers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it was a huge boom to their economy. So at that time, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We maybe think it's silly now because a lot of us know Petra. But
Yeah.
like at the time, that was a big deal.
Is that why you want to go to Petra?
No, I actually forgot about that until I did research.
I know it's on your list, and now I understand why.
It's on my list because your uncle's like a Petra expert, and I
Yes.
want to go with the pro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go with the
With
pro.
the historical pro. But this Spielberg got super close with the King of Petra, or King of Jordan.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow.
they got so close that he was like, hey, you can have access to tons of resources. And he even gave them 4 horses out of the royal stables that at the end of the movie, when they're riding horses off into the desert,
Yeah.
those are 4 royal horses from the royal stables from the Kingdom of Jordan.
Wow.
All because Spielberg was like schmoozing it up.
Very cool, because Spielberg can't afford his own horses.
No, he can't. He can't.
Like, who are you going to give a break? You're going to give Spielberg a break on
Yeah,
horses?
yep.
Like, okay.
And the King of Jordan is I'm trying to think of what movies he just loved, like E.T. He's like, oh,
Sure.
I love E.T.
Rich get
so
richer, I
good.
guess.
Ford liked to do all of his own stunts, kind of like Tom Cruise. Eat your heart out, cruise lovers. Ford loved to do his own stunts so much that his stunt double had to like ask for permission to be in one scene. He's like, hey, I want to get credit for this, and I won't get any credit unless I do one stunt.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find out what stunt he got to do, but he had to like go to Ford and be like, hey, can you let me just do one? can I just do one of the stunts?
I bet it was the stunt where Harrison Ford essentially like takes his shoulder and takes out a stone wall in the crypt. Like he just sees like this X on it. He's like, there it is. And he essentially just goes through this old wall of stone.
It was made of foam, though. You could totally tell.
It was definitely foam, but it's meant to be stone. And he just busted through it. And I laughed aloud.
Yeah, Rach laughed a hearty laugh. That's actually a point where I thought, oh no, I think I'm losing her.
Well.
So the stunt guy said Harrison could have been a stunt man himself. Like he was that good.
Wow.
He was awesome at stunts. And Harrison said his favorite stunt that he got to do in this movie was the moment where he's hanging onto the tank by like the cannon nozzle, and they're rubbing him into the rock, and the rocks are all falling down because there's like a bunch of dudes that are above him, and they all have shovels, and they're waiting for him to get like close enough to him, and then they just like throw a bunch of dust and dirt on him and stuff. And he said it was really fun. And he's like hanging on by that belt loop.
That's great.
So that was his favorite stunt that he got to do. The tank scene was only supposed to be a 2-day shoot. But Lucas and Spielberg, because they were such bros, they just kept broing out about it. And they were like, hey, what if this happens? And then what if this happens? And so they just, like little kids, just kept growing the scene. And it went from 2 days to 8 days.
Yeah.
If you were an actor, wouldn't you get super frustrated when you'd be like, guys, can we just knock it off with this freaking tank shit?
I mean, if you were a moviegoer, wouldn't you get kind of tired of the tank scene?
Oh, no.
It's so long.
We lost
tank
Rach on the tank scene.
I can feel that. Like, I feel that in my bones when you tell me that it was 8 days.
That it's 4 times too long?
And that it's like, and then this. And then we'll do this. And this would be cool. It's like, where is the arc? Where is this? There's like 4 false finishes.
Yeah.
And I think they could have used someone to come in like, now, boys. Lights out. Time to go to bed.
Who would that have been? Is that Penny Marshall, or like what woman director is like, boys?
Boys.
That's
Whoa.
If we had a Greta Gerwig around this time, like she would have been perfect. Like, hey,
millions of dollars every moment. We're just bleeding money right now.
Clean it up, boys.
Tighten it. It can be so effective, but it doesn't need to go on for 20 minutes.
That is so funny. So another fun little filming tidbit. There was a scene that took place in the Zeppelin.
Oh.
Would you want to ride in a Zeppelin, by the way?
Is that what you call those?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Those little big balloons.
Those little big balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those little big balloons. Yeah.
I was going to call it a Hindenburg, but that's just one in specific one that crashed, a fiery crash.
Oh.
Oh, you didn't know
Yeah.
that? Oh, okay. I think it was in the U.S. somewhere. Yeah. Fireball of fire. there's just so much gas that's flammable.
Would you ever fly in one of them?
I would. Yeah, it's like a smoother hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be
I
cool.
actually think it'd be kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if they're rocky or not, but I think they would be. They're so big.
It just
Such big
seems like
balloons.
a lot of like square space to take up for not a lot of passengers.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like
maybe.
a 50-person thing, and it's just like
Maybe
the size of a
that's the big
football
issue.
field.
Yeah.
It's not super efficient, but it would be cool. But neither is hot air ballooning either.
Yeah, that's
I feel
true.
like 4 people. In
It would be fun to go from like Minneapolis till Milwaukee or something, like a short flight.
Yeah.
That probably took. Whoops, I spit on you.
Spit in my
That
eye.
probably would take like 16 hours, and it's only supposed to be taking 4. But that would be like the thing that I would want.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
Maybe it's just Minneapolis to River Falls, just cross the Wisconsin border, and we'll call it good.
Float over.
Yep. So there's a scene on the Zeppelin though where it was really, really hot. I had made mention of it to you. I was like, hey, pay attention to this scene.
Oh yeah.
They're
Yeah,
talking
there's
about
some
the
dialogue.
plans. It's dad and it's Papa and son just talking, and like they're having a whiskey together, and like it's a kind of a sentimental moment, but then it gets back to business. The Zeppelin was super hot. I don't even know if they were really in a Zeppelin.
Were they in a Zeppelin?
But whatever they were filming in was crazy hot.
Okay.
And so Sean Connery said, I want you to film me from the waist up. I'm taking off my pants. And I watched the scene.
I wish you would have told me. I wanted to know that.
I watched the scene. I was like, yep, you can totally tell they're filming just waist up. And you don't know if he doesn't have pants on or not. And he's underneath the table in certain shots of the tablecloth covers his legs.
You should have whispered it to
But
me.
then, so get this. Sean Connery took his pants off, and Harrison was like, well, I want to take my pants off. They both took their pants off.
Oh, that is some great trivia.
Yeah.
That is great.
Sean Connery was just on like a brilliant kick during this movie.
Sure.
So taking his pants off in one scene, and the next scene, there was a scene where Harrison finds out that the gal was with his dad before him, like sexually.
She hooked up with both Joneses.
Yep. Yeah. What'd you think of that?
It made sense to me. She's an uber villain, and she was trying
Yeah.
to get secrets out of him, and she was working with the dad first, and then he escaped, and so then it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. So she hooks up with both the Joneses, but
They're only 11 years apart, Ty.
I guess Sean had India at such a young age. So there was a line that he gives that is like the reveal of how it happens. Harrison keeps going, "How do you know her, Dad? How do you know that, Dad?" Or whatever. Like he's like, "What did you do? Did you have sex with my girlfriend?" And then what does Connery say?
I don't remember.
How he reveals it is he says, "She talks in her sleep."
Oh, that's right. Yes.
He's like, "How do you know that, Dad?" And he's like, "She talks in her sleep." And you're like, "Oh no!" And you can just see Harrison's face, like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
Ransacked her own room, and I fell for it. How did you know she was a Nazi? How did you know she was a Nazi? She talks in her sleep.
And that line was an ad lib by Connery. He just came up with that on the
done.
spot.
Well done.
Yep. Really impressive. Really impressive stuff. So we talked about the rats already and about how those were rats that they had to breed. There's a scene after the Zeppelin moment where there's a plane that's chasing Sean Connery and Harrison Ford around like a farm. And there's something that Sean Connery does to get the plane to crash.
Yes.
What's he do?
Yes, they're out of bullets, and so they're on a beach, and he sees a flock of birds, seagulls, I believe.
Yep.
And he rustles them all up. He takes his umbrella out and kind of shoos them all up into the sky, and then the birds fly into the plane, and the plane crashes into the side of the mountain.
Yep.
Tale as old as time.
So for that scene, they could not use actual seagulls because, as our brother-in-law Colm tells me, seagulls are dicks. Seagulls are the biggest assholes of the bird family that you can ever imagine. And they won't do, they're kind of like crows with the crow. You remember how they had ravens instead of crows?
Yeah, because the crows are like, whatever.
Yeah, so crows and seagulls are similar. They'll kind of be like, whatever. So if he would have ran after them with the seagulls, they would have maybe like hopped a little bit away from him and been like, get out of here, you idiot. So they had to get pigeons and doves
Okay.
for that to make them fly.
Big ones.
Yeah.
Or
Well, and then you see and when he's in the plane, so I already knew that part, and you can just tell they're throwing fake seagulls at the plane, like when you see it from the pilot's
I figured they
view.
were doing that anyways, just from animal cruelty. You don't want like real ones to be like hitting the glass like boom, boom, boom.
Yep. But so seagulls are huge dicks.
I guess.
That's the moral of the story.
Wow, very good. Good tidbits.
I feel like if you were a bird, you might be one.
I'd be a seagull?
Maybe.
How dare you, sir?
What bird do you think you'd be?
Well, not a seagull.
I think I'd be a pigeon because I poop a lot.
Bit of an overshare.
Those Nazi uniforms that were used in the movie?
Real Nazi uniforms.
You got it.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I suppose you don't want to make a ton of that stuff.
Yeah,
You only want so much of it floating around.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they got
Could
hold
fall
of
into the wrong hands.
Real Nazi uniforms there.
Wow, that's crazy.
The sound designer was a sound designer for WALL-E. He actually does the voice for WALL-E. WALL-E. That's him.
Really?
That's him. The
And did
sound
the
designer
sound
for
for
this
this?
movie. And how he came up with some of the noises were, like for the rats, he irritated chickens until they got high-pitched enough to make it sound like rats when the fire's going and stuff.
Oh, really?
And they're like,
You can't just make rats make that sound?
no, and he couldn't
They
make
don't-
them
They don't
himself.
squeak that high?
Gotta irritate those chickens.
Get the chickens going.
Now, he also did an earthquake noise. Do you have any guesses for how you would do an earthquake noise?
Earthquake noise. I mean, thunder is usually like a pan that you
Yeah.
kind of like wobble.
Wobble,
around.
wobble, wobble.
So I would imagine that an earthquake is the same, but you just take that pan underground and.
Nope.
No, I don't know.
He rubbed two balloons together.
Did it sound like that? Were you listening for it?
I actually thought it sounded pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does he like mess with the frequency
know.
and stuff after it?
I thought that sounded pretty good. Here's one thing that bothered me. All the punch sound effects sounded like a little dumb. Yeah. They were all too big. Like, they needed to be more dulled and muffled, but they were all like these big punch noises.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
it was
gosh.
a little like kaplow, zowie. It was a little like that.
Yeah,
If that had a sound.
Oh, Rach, would you ever want to ride in one of those motorcycles where it's like there's a little seat?
With a little sidecar?
Yeah, sidecar.
I would. Honestly, that looks a little bit more dangerous than riding in the motorcycle. But if you recall, on our trip to Universal Studios and Hagrid's Wild Ride, we rode that several times.
And we traded off, didn't we?
We traded off, yeah. We both like rode it, and then we both rode in the car.
Oh.
I liked riding the motorcycle the better because I was able to lean forward, and then I didn't have as much of like a G-force experience as I did sitting in like the sidecar. Like my stomach was just like uncontrollable as far as like the drops and stuff. I was like, whoa, there goes my tum. But like if you're pretending that you're driving it and like going from 0 to whatever it is in like 2 seconds, it felt less silly in my tummy.
Yeah. I felt less silly in my
It felt
tummy.
so silly on my tummy.
That ride is so freaking fun.
Yeah, that was a great
It's
ride.
the best ride of all time. It's my favorite ride of all time.
It's a really good one.
Yeah. Spider-Man's number 2, but that's number 1.
It's good. Yeah, it's definitely up there. It was very good.
Yeah.
But yes, I would, and I have, and I will again.
When we go back to Universal Studios.
Yep,
in
that's
the
probably
spring.
what it will
Heck
be.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. But everybody loved the movie during the previews. But Lucas and Spielberg, they're watching the release just to the preview folks, not to like the entire audience. And they just think it's a little too wordy once you get about to the halfway point.
Too wordy?
Too wordy.
Too much exposition?
Yeah, and they're like, we need an action scene. So they actually added that motorcycle bit after previews. Before they opened it to the public. They're like, let's go back and film this other action sequence.
Scene.
We need more action.
This needs more action in it.
Now, we know about Rachel Ann. We know she loves chase scenes. Car chases are her favorite. But how did you feel about this motorcycle chase scene?
Compared to other chase scenes?
No, just in general. Did you need it? Did you like it? Was it too long? Did
I
you
didn't.
zone out?
I did not need it. No. I could have a little bit of it, but I didn't need it.
Yeah.
We had a boat chase scene, that chase scene, a car chase scene. We had a tank chase scene. There's a lot of those.
What'd you think of the boat chase scene?
It was okay.
Not as fun as Face Off's boat chase scene?
No, not nearly as fun.
There were still a lot of boats exploding, though.
Yeah. A lot of explosions that, again, it's always fun to find, like, well, like, why did that explode? Like, no one knows.
Oh, yeah. There was something where a barrel fell and just, like, blew up an entire boat or something. And I was like,
kind of
what
by
was in that
accident.
barrel?
It was incredible. As it is with a lot of action scenes, it's like, I don't actually think that would be that big of an explosion, if at all.
So you want to know a moment that really stuck with me as a kid that's kind of weird? And you're
Sure.
like, why would that moment be that important to you? I don't know. The moment where Indy's trying to figure out why those guys are hunting him on the boats. And he's got a guy who I think is Jewish, it's safe to say.
Sure.
And he has him in the boat, and there's a big propeller in the background that's cutting up the boat.
Just eating up the boat.
And he's like, tell me why you want to kill me. And he's like, I'm ready to go to my God. Are you ready to go to yours?
Tell me! If you don't let go, Dr. Jones will both die!
Then we'll die!
My soul is prepared. How's yours?
This is your last chance!
No, Dr. Jones. It's yours.
And how the boat keeps getting destroyed.
Yeah.
I love that as a kid. And then when they brought him into their boat and then he tells them like who he is and he shows them that tattoo.
Yeah.
For some reason, that sequence
Yeah.
really stuck with me as a kid. I was a weird little kid. Really weird.
Like, did you like draw tattoos on your body after that, or what do you mean stuck with you?
I
Like,
just
you
thought it
thought
was
about it
so
a lot?
cool that guy was willing to die for like the secret. He's like, I'm ready to go. And then Indy tells him, like, I just want to get my dad back. And he's like, okay, well, here's what you need to do. So he ends up being a good guy.
Yeah, he helps him.
Yeah, and he helps him.
Because he's there for the right reasons.
Yeah, and there's something about this warrior who's, like, trying to keep the secret going. I just really thought that was cool.
Oh, boy. I bet you did. That is so embedded in your fiber.
But I liked River Phoenix at the beginning, too. So, like, I wanted to be Indy.
Yeah.
But a consolation prize would have been being that guy on the boat. The film releases May 24th, 1989, so Memorial Day that year. And the movie costs $48 million to make. And it makes over $197 million. So it makes
some money.
It makes some money. Not as much as My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but it makes some money.
It's very profitable.
So it makes $29 million opening weekend. And here are a couple other films in the Indy franchise, and just running through their numbers. This might just sound like gobbledygook, but for our numbers folks who love the numbers,
this is for
here
you.
You go, baby.
Listen up.
Okay, Last Crusade.
Crunch it.
$48 million, makes $197. Raiders costs $20 million, makes $212 million.
Whoa.
So more money for
Whoa.
Raiders. Crystal Skull, $185 million to make. That's crazy. And only makes $317 million. Temple, $28 million budget, makes $179. So there you go, numbers, folks.
There you have it.
I've done your research for you.
Now shut up about
Now
it.
shut up and go to bed.
It's not for you.
Yep. So this has the second highest. It actually opened midweek for Memorial Day weekend. It didn't open on a Friday. It opened like on a Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
And it's the second largest midweek opening after Return of the Jedi. And when it releases, it's number one. It beats out Roadhouse.
Oh, with Patrick Swayze?
Yep. That was just we saw a little bit of that movie. It looked terrible.
Yeah,
We watched the first half hour and I was like, this is trash.
Just a bar fight?
Pretty much.
That's all I saw. Then again, I couldn't hear it because
we
in
watched
a bar,
it with subtitles.
But yeah.
Yep, at a bar.
Yeah. So I don't know that we
But
really watched it.
But it was my birthday and I was a little tipsy, and so you think I would have loved it. Talking about bar fights, Patrick Swayze, like I think I'm in. But I wasn't in.
I guess not.
And it beats out No Holds Barred, brother. Have you ever heard of No Holds Barred?
No, that's a movie?
Wrestling movie.
Oh.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, I see.
I think it's in it. Yeah. And
well, I hope so. You just did the impression.
No Holds Barred, brother. And then Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've never seen.
Big Iowa movie.
Yeah.
Big one.
And then it's number one for 3 weeks until it finally gets beat out by your favorite of this sequence, Star Trek V. I know you love the 5th one. You thought they lost their way on the 4th one, but you feel like they really reclaimed their spot with the 5th one.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that's verbatim.
And
what I
then
would say.
Ghostbusters 2.
Oh.
Which, have you seen Ghostbusters 2?
I don't think so.
Have you seen Ghostbusters 1?
I have seen Ghostbusters 1.
Okay. What's the plot? What's the big thing they fight at the end?
The big marshmallow guy.
Good job.
Michelin marshmallow guy.
Yep.
Oh,
nice
no,
doggy.
Puffy. He's a Puffy. He's
Stay
not
Puff.
a Michelin
He's
guy.
the
He's a
Stay Puff
Yeah.
Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, he looks like the Michelin Man, though, too.
I'm the Keymaster, Master of Ghoster. So it finally loses its top spot to those two films. Are you a Star Trek fan? Do you like Star Trek? What do you think? What are your thoughts on Star Trek?
I have not seen really any Star Trek.
You saw the 2 new ones.
I did not.
You didn't see 3.
No.
Yeah, you did. You love Chris Pine.
I like Chris Pine, but I have not seen that in its entirety. It's been on at a house party that I was at.
Yeah, I know a party because I was there too.
People were just hanging out and talking, and it was on. So I cannot, in good conscience, say that I've seen it. Much like I can't say I've seen
number
this.
2 together. The one with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's really. I think number 2 is really good. The new ones. I think 1 is whatever, and 3 is awful.
We watched number 2 together?
We watched 2 together.
Why would I watch 2 if I hadn't seen 1?
I don't know, because you were right there.
I did?
Maybe you weren't paying attention.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Like how now you're trying to convince me that I have seen this movie. And I'm telling you that, no, I've not seen that movie.
You're just trying to be honest with yourself finally, and I'm over
trying.
here trying to tell
I'm
you
searching
to
my soul
keep lying.
I don't want to be quizzed on it, and I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, Star Wars over Star Trek in this man's body. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I feel that to be true for me as well.
Yeah.
Props to those who
love it.
go the other way, but for me,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. Yep. Here are some taglines.
Oh boy.
He's back. in an all-new adventure, Memorial Day 1989. That's so lame. Are you kidding me?
Tell me something I don't know.
I know. It's just like, give me information. Come on.
When is this movie coming out?
Yeah, it's coming out Memorial
What
Day.
year is it?
Here's the adventure of your life, keeping up with the Joneses.
It's a fun little double entendre
Here's
there
my
with
favorite one,
Joneses. Okay.
The man with the hat is back. And this time, he's bringing his dad.
I wish I would have given that a 10 out of 10 had it said daddy. He's bringing his daddy.
Really?
No, I think it's good.
Okay. I was like, I feel like you don't like when people say daddy.
I don't. Dad would be work. That works for me.
Yeah. How mad are you going to be if we have like kids and they're like, Daddy, are we going to do this or whatever? Are you going to take me to the park today, Daddy?
It's fine if they don't do it in an annoying way.
I want ice cream, Daddy.
Yeah, no.
If they hold on to the E, I think that's the key. They just go, hey, Daddy. They just go, hey, Daddy.
No.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. This movie has a Rotten Tomatoes score of, guess?
72?
Higher.
73.
Higher.
74.
Higher. We can play this all day.
I can play all night. 80s?
88%.
88%.
The audience score is
Wow.
94%.
Holy buckets.
Yes. Okay, numbers, folks. Let's break this down, shall we?
Again.
Listen, hang on tight. Raiders, 96% for both.
Yeah.
Audience and critics.
Feels good.
Temple of Doom, 84% critics, 81% audience.
Sure.
This one, reminder, 88%, 94%.
Okay.
Crystal Skull, 78% critics,
Generous.
53% audience.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I agree more with the audience.
Yeah, that's very generous critics.
Do you remember Crystal Skull very well?
I believe so.
Do you remember, oh gosh, what's his name?
Shia
LaBeouf's weird little dominatrix leather jacket that he gets to wear the entire time? He looks like a goof.
Oh, would we say that?
Yeah, I think he looks like an idiot. I like Shia LaBeouf too. Like, I'm not a Shia hater.
No.
I think those Transformers movies are terrible, but they're not his fault.
We went to the theaters to see this, so we were ready to be excited and to love it.
I love the Indiana Jones series. I think they're so fun.
Yeah, but it was a bit of a letdown. Or it also shone light on an Indiana Jones that I didn't remember, and it seemed a lot cooler when I was a kid with all like the crazy stunts and stuff.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I was like, I don't know that I like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And I even remember not thinking Marion was that cool in that movie.
Yeah.
Because she comes back.
She does.
And which I'm happy that she's
I
the
like the
person
idea
he
that she came
he
back.
ends up with.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought like, oh, she's so badass in that first movie. Like she's kind of cool in that one, but not that cool.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was a lame-o story.
It was so over the top too. Do you remember the part where they're in that boat and they're going off of a waterfall and then like a tree catches them?
Oh, yeah.
And then the tree goes to another tree and this is how they don't die. And it's just so things like that. Like it just got to be like, oh,
And
is that Indiana
do you
Jones?
remember what the thing is? So we talked about snakes, monkey brains, and
Ants.
Yeah, man-eating ants.
Well, they did. They
And-
eat Cate Blanchett. They ate her dry.
And so here's the thing. It reminded me of the Mummy movie with those beetles. Do you remember the Mummy movie with those beetles?
yeah,
But that was
yeah.
cool because the beetles get in your skin.
yeah, that was.
But
really
these
cool.
ants just like eat you and you turn into dust. And it's like, oh, okay.
And that's all there is to it.
Man-eating ants? Is that even real? If it is it really that scary? I don't know. Like you said, it should have been spiders.
Should have been spiders.
Maybe they counted Temple of Doom and they said like, hey, we did do some spiders.
I feel like there's some spider stuff in there. I'm pretty sure.
So here's what the critics' consensus says.
Mm-hmm.
No spiders and more rats make this a dull boy.
That's what the critics said?
No. Here's what they said. Lighter and more comedic
Mm-hmm.
than its predecessor. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade returns the series to the brisk serial adventure of raiders while adding a dynamite double act between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. This is Harrison's favorite of all the films.
Oh, it is?
He said it was the best location to shoot on,
Sure.
and so this is his favorite.
Okay.
Want to hear a couple of the reviews from some of these folks?
Yes, please.
Washington Post says this. You want adventure? Thrills? How about rats? That was their review.
This is sounding a lot like my review. I promise I have not edited. I will read it verbatim, but I just want you to remember that review when I
Okay.
give you mine.
I will do my best to remember that. Okay, here's another one. Chicago Reader. The fast pace and force-fed wisecracks are as seamless as ever, but rarely has audience laughter sounded as hollow.
What does the Ty, can you give a hollow laugh for us? Oh, good. That's actually that was pretty good.
Oh, it's like every laugh that I do for all my fake friends. Here's another one. Oh, it's like your laugh when you laugh at old people's jokes.
I do have a fake laugh that
You
comes
do,
out.
and I call her on it so hard. I'm like, "Hey, nice job on that fake laugh over there, faker." Yeah, it's
That's
this
about like
big
that.
fake laugh.
It's not like obvious though, is it?
Not to them, but it is to me. I know it's fake.
I know you do.
Yep. Do you know when mine's fake?
Nah, you never fake laugh.
I actually think I can try to find enjoyment out of a lot of things that aren't that enjoyable, and I can have an honest reactional laugh, even if it's not like terribly funny. Yeah, I don't do a lot of pity laughing.
Yeah, you're true to yourself.
Yeah,
Even
I'm
at
not a liar.
even at old people's expense.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just,
Damn their feelings.
you don't get anything from me, old person.
That knock knock joke sucked. I will not
I
laugh
mean,
at that.
I have a coworker who like it says jokes and he knows it. Like, yeah, I like this coworker a lot, but he says like these groan-inducing like puns or whatever, and I'll just go like, "Oh, come on," like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If I don't want to laugh at it. So here's another one from the Sydney Herald, the Aussies.
Oh, Aussies weigh in.
We usually talk about those asshole Brits. Let's see how the Aussies do. It all sounds terribly familiar, and indeed it is. But the new film does have Sean Connery, and that alone is price for admission.
I don't disagree.
Rach,
Yes.
I've got to ask you this.
Yes.
What do you think of sexy bow ties in archaeology teachers at the university level in the 30s/40s? Do you like that look?
I mean, here's what I'll say.
Yeah,
So
say
they
it.
always have the scene where he's teaching, right?
And all the girls are just dreaming.
Yeah, I think like on their eyelids in one of the movies, it's written "I love you" or something
Yes.
like that. Every
Did you
time
see
she
that
blinks.
when I was watching it the other?
No, I've seen it. I'm telling you.
Wow,
I
you
know
remember
that-
it pretty well.
I do. I remember some things better than other things. That I remember. They're not wrong in this like really cool conglomeration of like, oh, he's so knowledgeable about history and archaeology, and he's Harrison Ford. He's so handsome.
He's a
and
very charming, handsome guy.
Yeah. They definitely they hit on a type that I share.
So would you be more into Harrison when he's dressed up like the teacher or when he's dressed up like the archaeology explorer?
I would say neither. I will take Harrison when he's in a suit and we're on our way to a fabulous gala to celebrate his conquests that he's brought to the museum.
Oh.
So it's like post all the craziness. And maybe he's got like a little scar from all the fighting that he just did, but now he's all dressed up in a little suit and we're celebrating.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So I'm in a fancy gown too. So I also benefit from this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Hope
Yeah,
you guys have a great
what-
day.
What do you choose?
That was a little too real for me, I'll be honest with you. I feel threatened.
You sound threatened.
Now I'm mad. Why did I ask that question?
What's your favorite?
Petra
Harrison?
tourism skyrocketed
Hey!
from... What'd you say? What was...
What's your favorite Harrison?
Oh, archaeology explorer. Like leather
Not-
jacket.
Not Professor Harrison?
Unbuttoned. No, but he does make bow ties look cool. And I'm not a bow tie guy. I think I have some friends who wear bow ties and I think they look cool. But whenever I've wore a bow tie, I think I look like a dork. And it doesn't work for me. I think I look good in a tie and dorky in a bow tie. But
Bow ties are a very time period appropriate. He looks
Yeah.
cool in a bow tie because bow ties were the dress then.
yeah.
This is the 30s.
So I just watched my version of Footloose.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, I wear a red bow tie and
Sure.
a cummerbund.
Cool.
I think I look like an idiot.
Nah, you're wrong. You look so
Do you
cool.
remember that look?
I do.
They're red.
Yep.
and her dress was red, so it was a good
It
match.
makes sense. You look great.
Okay. Maybe I look good in bow ties. I'm a bow tie guy. Kind of a bow tie guy. I had mentioned that Petrus Tourism it was like 4 times the amount after this movie. No, I was way off. It went from a few thousand to over 1 million people.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, would start visiting Petra on an annual basis.
Do you think it's because they wanted something Indiana Jones related, or because they just didn't know it existed and they're like, oh, that's real? That's not like a set?
I think
that's
it's
a
that
really
one.
cool
and with,
rock formation.
with the big film being filmed there too, I think people then probably felt like, oh, it's a safe Arab nation. Like, oh, that sounds fun. Like, I want to see that part of the world and not feel like I'm in danger. The Jordan people seem like really kind and open to tourism and stuff. So I think
Unless
it's all that
you're looking
stuff.
for the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Then be wary.
Yes, because those old Templars will get you. Rach, do you know the story about PG-13?
Was it around at this time? Because
it was. This movie's PG-13.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I just know that for a long time we had PG and we had R, and then we didn't have a lot of. We had obviously a lot of movies in between that, but you wouldn't know that based on the ratings of everything was PG.
Yep.
But it came around already. Okay.
Yes, and it came about because the Temple of Doom with the heart stuff.
Oh.
That was a PG movie.
Oh.
And parents got really upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like super mad. They're like, how can any kid go see this movie where the heart literally gets taken out of somebody's body? Like, this is way too graphic for like a 10-year-old to go see. And
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And so Spielberg actually like called the ratings board and was like, you've got to come up with something in between.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop just making everything PG or R.
Yeah.
Find something, like, it should be 13 years old. Like, figure something out with 13 years old.
Wow,
And so it was his idea. And they're like,
Spielberg's
okay, we'll make
idea.
this thing called PG-13.
Okay.
So Temple of Doom, the reaction to that caused PG-13.
Uh-huh.
The first PG-13 movie is Red Dawn. Have you ever seen Red Dawn?
No, is that a Russian spy drama?
No, it's not spy drama, but it's Russian.
It is Russian.
The Russians have taken over the U.S. They have invaded, and they rule over the U.S. And then two boys from Colorado, start a little guerrilla warfare to try to turn back those Soviets.
Wow.
Those commies. Get them out of here.
Very cool.
And do you know who our two boys are?
I don't remember who's in that.
Our two boys are somebody we've already mentioned on this podcast one time, Patrick Swayze.
Oh, boy.
And his younger little brosif, Charlie Keene.
Very cool.
Charlie Sheen.
I was
Keene.
like, Charlie Keene?
Charles Keene was an actor from the 1800s in Britain. I can tell you about him as well.
Nope. Tell me about Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. So I've never actually seen that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping you would, so you could put it on the list because it sounds fascinating.
It does sound really interesting.
They did
actually.
a remake in like the 2010s that did
Yeah,
awful.
okay.
Did awful.
Mm-hmm.
But the original apparently is like a lot of fun. So
It sounds like it would be,
I
right?
think killing a bunch of commies and like protecting Colorado, great state in the union.
Amazing.
Like, let's do it.
What a party.
Let's party. Rach, what do we find out Indiana Jones' real name is?
Henry? I don't remember
Yep.
how it's spread.
Henry Jones Jr.
Jones Jr. Yeah, he keeps being called Junior, which is by his dad, which was another thing that I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Him not liking that, and his dad keep going Junior. Sean Connery was trying not to do his own dialect, his Scottish.
Yep, him.
And it was tricky. It was really tricky.
Well,
but he's also Sean Connery.
I thought
so
he
nobody cares.
I thought he kind of lightened it up a little bit, but he didn't stop it completely. I didn't feel like he was trying to stop it.
No, you didn't.
I didn't. I thought he was just trying to lighten it. Yep. I don't think he was trying to play an American.
No.
No.
Okay.
I just figured he's a Scottish man who settled in the U.S.
In the middle of
Utah.
Utah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's probably
There's
teaching.
a very high
teaching
Scottish
at the University of Utah or
population there.
BYU, and
Uh-huh.
Indy's running around having adventures with the Eagle Scouts, and then ends up moving to somewhere on the East Coast, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how I saw
I mean,
it.
they didn't explain it, but they did not explain it, and so I didn't know if I was meant to believe that was just creeping in every now and then because Sean couldn't
Oh, sure.
or
yeah.
didn't.
No, I think it was okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Junior.
And you find out he gets named after the dog.
Oh, yeah. They had like a family dog.
He took that from the dog.
Indiana was the dog's name, and he just liked
Who's
it.
a beautiful husky at the beginning of the film. We get to see that dog.
Oh, yeah, we do get to see that dog.
Yep.
Indiana.
So,
It's a cool name.
Rach,
He has him?
what are some of your things? What do you got?
Yeah, I thought let me peek to see if we got everything. We talked about River's long hair.
Yep.
That was note number 1.
Yeah, for sure. Seriously looked like Nick Carter. He had to part the seas with that bad boy.
Note number 2, so much blowing of the dust everywhere. Like every time like we get to a new scene, we have to go or dust. I mean, obviously the archaeology is a very dirty business.
Yep.
I just thought it was funny that everyone resulted to blowing the dust every time.
Have you ever worked with me in the basement? When I'm working on the basement, putting studs up and stuff?
Yeah.
I'm blowing dust off
All
of
the
those
time?
lines all the time.
Yeah.
So that's real life.
That is real life.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know that was method. Indy breaks stone walls with his shoulder. We already discussed that issue. The explosions with the boats. Oh, I believe there's a point where it's kind of a race against time in the boat race, and these 2 ships are closing in and getting closer, and they go through it and they make it just in time. They're starting to kind of scratch on each side, and then the other boat goes through, and I think it explodes.
It does explode
in the very end,
And
I'm
like-
not sure.
Like a tiny bit of it flies out after exploding.
I was like, now why did that explode? I'm not sure. I did tell you all the things I had seen already. So the rat scene I had seen, the kissing in Venice.
Oh, we haven't talked about the kissing yet.
Oh, yeah, the romantic scene.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Did you know I didn't mention this, her audition was she literally had to suck on Harrison Ford's earlobe for 30 seconds, and then she had to bite his lip seductively.
Why?
That was the audition.
Why was that her audition?
I don't know, because I made it up.
I was mad.
What'd you think of
I
all
was getting really upset. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
That's
just imagine
ridiculous.
Harrison's like, next, I'll take the next one.
Like that, or like, who's running this?
So what'd you think of all the lip biting and the earlobe sucking?
I remembered it is what I thought. Like, oh, I've seen this. That stuck with me. I remember that part of it. Yeah, they kind of like have I don't like forward women, and she says something else, some wildly witty repartee back, and then they just kind of like slap and bite each other. It's very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
What do I think about it? I don't
Yeah,
know.
you loved it, right?
No, not really.
That's
I like the feistiness between him and Marion more, and I
Yes,
think
me
they were
too.
trying to like recreate that.
Yep.
But it didn't matter because I knew this chick was evil.
Yeah.
She was obviously German and very evil.
But
so
in Raiders, we'll just talk about this now.
Yeah.
Marion alludes to her being really young when they get together, when they got together the first time.
Oh.
She goes, she like punches him and she goes, that's what you get, you son of a bitch. And he's like, for what? And he's like, I was young and in love. And he goes, you knew what you were doing.
I never meant to hurt you.
I was a child. I was in love. It was wrong and you knew it.
You knew what you were doing.
Yeah, love that.
I took it as he was
India.
probably like a 24-year-old grad assistant for her dad. And Marion was like 17 or something like that. And they hooked up. I was like, oh, gross.
Yeah, for as like cultured of a man that he presents himself to be in some ways, boy, he's just kind of rough around the edges still
Yeah.
at heart, right? Like he's a real man's man, but then he has to wear glasses to read, so he's very weak. He's such a conundrum.
Rach, how are you going to feel if I incorporate the earlobe sucking and the lip biting into our making out from here on out?
Oh, try it. Try it and see what happens.
Oh, we're going to have witty repartee.
Oh, the wittiest.
We're going to get a little witty, aren't we?
I'm going to continue to do things the way I think they should be done.
How dare you kiss me?
Leave me alone. I don't like fast women.
And I hate arrogant men.
Yeah, honestly, those are my notes.
Oh, wow.
All 6 of them.
Hey, what are the quotes that I say from this movie all the time?
Yes. Oh, and that was very exciting to hear and see where these came from.
Yep.
So when they're choosing the cups and when we have the situation where they chose the wrong cup, he says, this random guy in the tomb.
He's a Templar.
Yes, there's a ghost Templar who's like 700 years old because he's guarding it and he keeps drinking out of the
Grail.
The Grail Fountain of Youth. It's kind of a combo.
Yeah, it's kind of a combo, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
I wasn't going to explain that because I just thought it's kind of like weird and hard to explain, but I guess it's not. I guess it's not hard
I guess it took 10 seconds.
So he's there.
I like when he waves at the end when the building's coming down. He's like, bye.
Bye. Thanks
See
for
ya,
coming.
I'm going to die now.
So happy. He says to them, you chose poorly.
Yep.
You chose poorly.
Or you chose wisely.
You chose wisely.
So I'll tell that to Rach whenever she makes a bad decision.
Yeah.
You chose poorly.
He usually fits into our conversation at least once every 3 days.
Yeah, I would say it comes up a lot. And then what's the other big thing that I mention all the time? And we can talk about this moment too.
What was this one?
I can almost reach it, Dad.
Yes. So Dad, Sean Connery is holding on to Indiana Jones' arm, and Indiana Jones can almost like reach the Holy Grail.
Very
He's got his
similar
finger
to
on
the
it.
girl in Indiana Jones, like 2 seconds before.
2 seconds right before she falls.
Because she gets grails in her eyes. That's what you said.
Grails in her eyes.
Elsa, your other hand, honey. I can't hold you.
I can reach it. I can reach it.
Elsa, give me your hand. Give me your other hand.
And Indiana thinks he can do it, and he's like, no, hold on. Indy, let go.
Junior, give me your other hand. I can't hold on.
I can get it. I can almost reach it, Dad.
Indiana.
Indiana?
Let it go.
He's telling him to let go of the
Yes.
Grail, not in my hand necessarily. That's maybe be more specific with that. Let go of the Grail.
Let go of the
Hold on
Grail.
to my hand.
Yes. And so that's what I would always say. I would always go, Indy, let it go. But he really says Indiana, let it go, but it just doesn't work as nice as Indy.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
manipulate the quote for my own use. So.
As one should.
Yeah. All right. Rach, favorite scenes or moments or acting talk that you wanted to get into? What do you think of the acting overall?
You know, I thought it was actually pretty good. I kind of danced around with Sean Connery thinking, like, what are we doing here? Like, who are you? Where are you from? But if I let that go, I let it go.
Let go of the dialect part? Like the where are you from
I think so.
originally? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, are you trying to drop it or are we just dusting over it? So that kind of stuck with me for a little bit. That took me out of it
Okay.
a little bit. But I did enjoy him in this, and I enjoyed the father-son storyline. That was probably my favorite part of it, was the father-son bit. I'm glad that they saved that for the third one. I think that kind of is a nice way to take it up the next level and keep it as a story that they were interested in coming back to.
Sure. Yep. Take it up a notch.
Take it up a notch. Let's raise the stakes. Let's add a dad.
Yes.
What if he met his dad? And what if his dad is Sean Connery? And his cute little bucket hat. He's just so adorable. He kind of looks like your dad a little bit. Like, he just has like the
My
beard.
dad would love to hear you say that.
Well, let's get your dad a bucket hat, and he can go as. Oh my gosh!
should
You
go
and
as
your
that for
dad
Halloween.
could go as that together.
Rach, get out of the town.
Wouldn't you
I
love
would
that?
die. If we went as Indy and Henry.
Your dad goes as yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea, Dad. We got to get on this. We'll be great.
Yeah, put your mom on it. She'll get those put together.
Yeah, I will. I'll be, Mom, you got to get these costumes together.
Stat.
My mom is like a pro at costume making. Like,
Honestly, you just need the hats, and
Yeah.
then we can put the rest of it together easy style.
I'll put good money towards those hats.
I know.
Those hats and jackets, trust me, I'm coming for them.
I love it. That would be adorable.
What are you going to go as?
I don't know. I could be Marion if I wanted to.
Yeah, right. You don't have dark hair. You don't have to dye your hair. Nobody will believe it otherwise.
Well, I can't be the blonde in this one either. That doesn't make any sense.
No, that sucks. You die.
I'll figure it out. You worry about yourself. I'll be the boulder.
Anything else that you'd like to get into, scenes, moments wise?
I mean, those are my faves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get into it when I give you my rating,
Okay.
and then we can talk about
Sure.
the pluses and
Will you
minuses.
add on to your rating where this compares to Raiders and Temple? If you remember Temple well enough, you probably don't.
I don't know
Maybe
that I
just
remember
Raiders.
that one as well. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll rank them
Okay.
post haste.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so remember that one review. I did not read that review before I read this.
Okay.
Before I wrote this.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Do you like Nazis? Do you like rats?
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Do you like 20-minute car, boat, motorcycle, and tank races? Have I got a movie for you? But if you don't like those things, then you can skip this one and just watch the original.
Okay.
55%.
Whoa, 55.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
It got into Indiana territory that I don't like, and I don't like the cheese and the like crazy
Yeah.
impossible things happening. I liked it when it's grittier. I liked it when it's more real, and when the stunts were still like obviously the front stunts in the first one are still crazy, and he gets out of things that
There's a lot
no
of
one
cool
should.
combat in that one.
But yeah, I just think it's a little bit like more realistic. But I loved Sean Connery in it. I loved that connection. So I'm torn. So if I was gonna rank them, I'd go the first one, and then I'd go this one as
Okay.
number 2, and then the third one I'll say Doom because I can't remember
Sure.
what it was.
And Crystal Skull was.
Oh,
even-
those ones are. I'm not even gonna honor the new batch. That's boy bottom.
And did you know there's another one coming out?
I do know that.
Yeah,
to be a fact.
I think it comes out in 2025.
Yeah.
They released a
Interesting.
still for it
Is
recently.
it gonna be? Is
It's gonna be
Harrison?
Yeah,
What?
it's Harrison. Old
he-
man Indy.
Did they finish it? Is it done?
Oh, I wonder if this is gonna be his ending.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you would think.
And if they continue on, I would just strongly encourage them to not do like somebody inheriting Indiana Jones and like just doing a new series like James Bond style. I would just say take the feeling of Indiana Jones and create something new, like they did with National Treasure. I know I give those movies a lot of guff, but
love 'em.
But see, Rach loves National
I love
Treasure way
National
more than I do.
Treasure. So
And
good.
but like at least that was a new thing, a new
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
We're not gonna pretend like we're Indiana Jones or anything like that. No spin-offs of it.
Yeah.
Just
I hear you. It's hard
do a
though.
new thing, I think.
The namesake
I
has
know.
money behind it,
I
and
know.
that's why
it'll
you
be
do
like
it.
Indiana Jones in the Fountain of Youth, and like it'll be a brand new Indiana Jones
Yeah.
played by the guy from Bridgerton, the Duke, and so I'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not gonna be Bond, he'll be Indiana Jones. So it's one or the other. You can choose. Yeah. I feel bad. I know this is
Don't feel bad.
your fave, but it just there's the
I should have known right when you said it had too many Goonies-isms. I should have known right off the bat. I was like, oh, the Goonies-isms. That's gonna drop that score.
yeah, it did.
Yep.
It did. And
Okay.
again, it's not that I don't like aspects of that, but like you're gonna tell me that German castle had like 4 like different random booby trapped doors and
Booty
walls
traps.
and
Booty traps, Mr. Jones.
Booty
Mr. Jones.
traps.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
Booty traps.
There you go.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, you can't do that dialect. So that's where it's at for moi.
Okay.
Yeah, where is it at for you? What's your percentage? And is this 100% for you?
No, it's not 100%.
Do you love it?
This is my favorite of the Indiana Joneses.
Yep.
This movie, the first one's probably at like a 75% or something like that.
Mhm.
This one for me is an 80%.
Okay, so
This
you're
is-
right in lockstep with like critics and audiences. Just
yeah,
about.
I suppose.
In the 80s.
Well, yeah, they're actually higher than me though.
Yeah.
Tied with, this is gonna hurt you. First Wives Club.
Ow.
Yeah, tied.
What?
It was just also a little slapsticky, like playing
No,
tricks
it's
on
so
everybody
realistic.
and-
Everything could have happened in that one.
Yeah, it could have. Everything could happen in this one.
No.
Yeah, could.
That's false.
Could.
So false.
Shoulder could break down a wall easy. And this is below Can't Hardly Wait,
Okay.
but above, and this hurt me, Double Dragon.
Oh yeah.
But also, this is going to hurt you, above League of Their Own.
Oh.
Oh,
Wait. What?
I know.
Ty Hudson.
This movie, I would rather watch this than League of Their Own, but I love League of Their Own.
League of Their Own is like almost perfection.
Rach,
What?
I like this movie a lot. I grew up with it.
Man.
This is a movie
Oh.
that has a soft spot in my heart. It's my favorite of the indies.
Clearly.
And I like it more than League of Their Own, but League of Their Own is right there. It's really good.
Oh my god.
Really good. I would say borderline great.
League of Their Own is perfection.
Last Crusade is great.
Last Crusade is not perfection. Or would you say perfection?
No, it's not perfection. That's why it's an 80%.
Oh man.
League of Their Own 78.
No.
Can't Hardly Wait's an 82.
Okay.
Is that funny? Like, Can't Hardly Wait. You weren't like, oh my gosh, you put that.
I
over?
know you love that movie. That's also not
I love that
perfection.
movie.
But yeah. I hear the nostalgia piece. I think you what movie did we watch? My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a perfect movie.
Oh, yeah,
but
you
I
put
have
that
it
super high.
I was so nostalgic when I watched it. I thought, oh my gosh, I love this movie.
That movie's pretty good, though. We've been quoting that movie a lot lately.
Well, we just have not been eating a lot of meat lately, and so we always have to give the line.
Yeah. So, but that tells you something about a movie when you keep quoting it.
It tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah. Well, folks, I just want to say thank you for tuning in this week. And also, if you could just do us a huge fave skis. Some of you have already rated us on iTunes, and I thank your lovely faces for that. If you haven't, just take a split second. And if you want to do this, just click on our podcast, on your Apple podcast app. You go to see all episodes, scroll down to the bottom. There'll be a little 5-star thing and a thing where you could write like a quick review. It can be short. It can just be like, Ty, you're super hot. Rach, your laugh's annoying. Like, it doesn't have to be a long review. And so just do a short little snippet. If you want to do longer and talk about how funny and awesome we are, that's up to you. Don't write anything negative. I'll delete your comments. Actually, I don't think I can. But if I could, I would.
We can't?
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
But anyway, just give us a little rating and review on iTunes. And if you have done this on iTunes and you have a Spotify account, do us a favor and just click. Spotify makes it so freaking easy.
Really?
You just type in Summers Off, click our little icon. It's right at the top. It just has a 5-star rating thing. Knock us a little 5-star if you love us. Don't rate us if you hate us. And then that way we can have those start showing up because we don't have enough ratings for that to show.
Oh,
right
really?
now. So
I don't
we need to
think I
increase a little
rated
bit.
us on that.
Well,
so
hey, that's
I got homework to do, as do you.
Yeah, so
listeners.
just take a couple seconds to do that for us. Next time you're on Spotify, we'd love you forever. That was episode 9, the penultimate episode of the season. What is our season finale? Second time in a row you've ended the seasons. I was going to say you didn't the first few seasons, but now you're on a roll of being our fight ender.
Yes, we are going out with a bang. Ladies and gentlemen, I have begun some pretty intense research on the subject.
Do you think it's going to be a 4-hour episode?
Potentially, so buckle up. But I have gone to the ends of the earth to start research on this. I went all the way to Northern Ireland.
Yeah, you did.
I went to Belfast.
I would say your tour was 3 hours worth of information.
I went on a 3-hour tour over this subject alone.
For them.
For
the Summers Off audience
for you
members.
guys and me. And I also am about to embark on a fun little video game that I used to play also in middle school. Ty, I am talking about all these roads all lead to the classic, iconic film.
Iconic.
Titanic.
Wow.
I think most people are more surprised that you have not seen this enough.
I will explain. Yeah, I'll explain
that
it
to them.
Not now. And tune in next week.
Oh, okay.
I'll explain myself.
Cool. Okay.
We'll give them a little hook. Because I know everyone will just be dying. They'll be like,
what?
What happened here, Ty? You idiot. You're so hot and stupid. Like Indy.
So, yes, join us next week.
For an iceberg of a movie. That's stupid. I couldn't think of anything.
No, Ty.
We'll cut it.
Mic check.
We're just testing. These testings never see the light of day.
Sometimes. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know that I trust that.
Come on. What's the meanest thing you've ever said to me? Go ahead. Go ahead, Rach.
Go on, say it.
You're safe.
Out loud.
Here, I'll pause it. Oh, hold on.
Doop, boop, boop.
Got it.
Beep boop beep boop.
Okay, go ahead.
Paused.
Beep, boop, ba, boop, boop, boop.